Some point. Hello and welcome to another Friday course, free on-page course. My name is Josh Bashinsky. I have a bunch of folks here in the Zoom call who are excited to get going. And I am broadcasting to YouTube as well. So if you have any questions, if you're watching on YouTube, please by all means ask them on the right-hand side. If you guys have any questions that I mentioned before, you can ask them in the Zoom call here as well. And as promised, I do have a gift for all the course attendees. I'll be sharing the gift first with the people who signed up for the Zoom, and then I'll share it afterwards. And it's a big, juicy 30% off coupon for any SEO Copilot product that could save you literally hundreds of dollars a month, and the 30% off could make you thousands of dollars in SEO. So that's all the way at the end of the course. So all good things to those who wait. Please wait to the end of the course, and I will share it here first in the Zoom first, and then I will share it on YouTube. And you can get 30% off. There's only a few remaining spots of that, and then once I give those all out, they are gone. So I would get the 30% off for sure. And just quickly, just to show you what I would do, I would get that 30% off and I would immediately go here to pricing and I would sign up for the 194 version because it gets you 150 pages of SEO per month to do an audit or to build pages. And it gets you at least 50 keyword discovery reports, roughly, plus or minus 5 or 10. So you could take on 50 new clients, you could take on 50 new ranking niches per month at least. And it gets it for you, 30% off of that would be lower than the $144 per month price. And all the prices, 144 beyond, are going to have always full access to everything in the system. Moving forward, we're introducing new features, page audit features, automatic upload to WordPress features, automatic AI features where it watches the ranking factors and automatically changes all your pages if the SEO landscape changes. So we have some really exciting features coming up in the future. Those are all promised to some degree and some fair amount at the 144 and above. But if you also want to take advantage of these lower prices right now, by all means, they're very, very cost-effective prices. Getting into SEO for 24 bucks a month, that's a damn good price. Definitely cost me a lot more when I got into SEO, but that was in terms of time. That was in terms of spending 10 hours a day doing research and then paying for links and stuff. SEO always costs money, but this is a pretty low cost to get in. Okay, so anyway, without further ado, let me share my screen and let's get the course started. So that's what we're going for today. This is what we're looking at today. Today we're taking a look at SEO Copilot. This is the AI that I developed, the piece of software I developed. That uses very complex chain of thought ideation, very similar to what kind of ChatGPT is doing these days with their new Search GPT and their new O1 model that's doing kind of like its own reasoning and thinking. I did something similar and I did it over a year and a half ago because I saw where this was going. And in my graduate studies, in my master's degree and my PhD, I studied psychology and philosophy, so both science, it was interdisciplinary science and science and psychology and neuroscience and philosophy, rational decision theory and ethics, and I learned how to think. I learned how people think, how they make the think thunks, and I just replicated those patterns with my 25 years experience in SEO of how you would outsource SEO consulting, how you would outsource SEO thinking. And I built it into 3 major sections in the tool. And each section is just as important theoretically. Practically, all you have to worry about is this section and this section. You don't really even need to go look at this or worry about this at all. The AI does this all automatically for you. But you do have to run a report. So there is step 1, step 2, step 3. But it really, most of the course is going to deal with this one. And this one here is what we're going to be talking about today. Again, if there's any particular areas you want me to focus on in the tool, by all means, ask the questions in both the Zoom chat and watching on YouTube. And also any other SEO questions you have. Ask me anything about SEO. I've been doing this for 25 years. I've done every single kind of SEO that exists, even some that don't exist anymore. So I've done local and global. I've done porn. I've done herbal pills. I've done weight loss pills. I've done skin creams. I've done Everything affiliate. I've done rank and rent. I've done digital real estate, but I've also done high level white hat consulting. I've done high level white hat. I've been an in-house SEO for numerous major corporations online that make a lot of money. I've done it all. I've had a storied career in SEO. And so ask me anything. I can really help you with your SEO game, and I would love to do so. It brings me joy to help people with this. I would love nothing more. Okay, so what are these three sections that is crucial to any SEO campaign? So guys, also keep in mind, everything I'm going to talk about here, don't be like, well, that's just for global. That doesn't apply to me. I'm in local. Or don't think, well, that's just affiliate. That doesn't apply to me. I'm in-house. I'll take a step back and take a look. And I'm telling you, from my 25 years experience, I built this to be a ubiquitous catch-all system. This works for everybody who's doing SEO. Sorry, let me go in here and find the peoples, mute everybody. They're fantastic. Okay. So sorry, if you want to turn on your mic and ask a question, by all means, go ahead. As long as I can understand your English. But otherwise, I'll just mute everybody. Thanks very much. So guys, everything I'm about to show you applies to all of SEO. And I think that's where some people go wrong, is they get too far down kind of the rumor mill in SEO. And they're like, oh, I do local, so all I have to care about is citations, right? You know, the answer is no. All the stuff I'm about to show you is ubiquitous to all of SEO. And this is going to help every single one of you improve your SEO game tremendously. Okay, so the next thing to mention is, okay, Josh, great, I got it. You know, Josh is going to help me with all my SEO, and I should listen to Josh for the whole thing. Okay, great. But what is the whole thing? Well, this is it. These are the three phases for OnPage that you need to start. And this is even before OnPage. Some people think OnPage starts like right here in between step 1 and step 2. But I take a step back and I include this portion into OnPage, which some people either don't do at all, which is terribly sad, because that's a huge mistake. And so I'm going to help you guys. You're going to get so much value out of this today. Or they just think this is part of the business planning stage, or like this is not part of SEO. But it really is and should be. So for the last 25 years, and this is keyword discovery. So what is keyword discovery? Keyword discovery is finding the ranking opportunities. Now, some people call it finding the low-hanging fruit. Now that kind of baits the lead a bit. I mean, it presumes that the low-hanging fruit is the best way to do keyword discovery, but it's the same idea. It's choosing what searches in Google you should be trying to rank for. That's what it is. It's doing research and analysis to find what searches you should even try to tackle in the first place. And I don't know where this went. As I said, I've been doing SEO for as long as Google's been around, since the late 90s, when I was still a teenager in my early 20s. I was working at the University of Winnipeg. I was building computer networks and systems, and then I got into this thing called the interweb, and I started learning HTML and JavaScript, and I signed up to teach those courses at University of Winnipeg because I knew the secretary who did the courses. So I said, I was like, hey Bev, I love to teach these courses. She's like, sure, Josh, great, here you go. Because it was a huge pay raise for me. I was making like $14 an hour, and they paid you like $50 an hour to teach. So I was like, okay, that's definitely something I should do. So I had learned these things. I learned how to make web pages, and I learned about search engines and search engine optimization even before Google was around. And ever since those early days, we've always tried to find the ranking opportunities. And you might be like, why? Because they're not all the same. Not every ranking opportunity is the same, especially in 2024, when Google has changed the landscape. They're kind of biased towards certain kind of sites. So you need to check to see, like, do I even have a chance of ranking here? Or is this kind of like a directory, like a Yelp thing they're only going to put here? Or do I have a chance of ranking here? Does everyone else have 20 years of accrued signals, and it's not going to be easy for me to break in? It's crucially important. It's been crucially important for all of SEO, but especially for 2024, to find the ranking opportunities. But the problem with it is that it could take dozens and dozens of hours to do correctly. Well, the wonderful thing is that I built an AI that can scan, as it says here, thousands of keywords to find where your competitors are weak. What it doesn't say here is, and the strange nuances of what people are saying to Google or typing into Google these days is totally different. It is completely different in some cases. You will be shocked and amazed when you do keyword discovery and be like, what? People are typing that in? That's how they're searching for this? Okay, fine. And nobody else has guessed it either. And so it's wide open for you to optimize for it. Like it's a new keyword that nobody ever thought of. It's almost that easy in some ways. And so I made an AI that can scan, in some cases, up to 10, 20,000 keywords and find where your competitors are weak. The traffic is as high as possible. But more importantly, this last component as well. Sometimes in SEO, we get away with being like, okay, well, yeah, boss, or yeah, client, or whatever, whoever you're doing the SEO for, you're like, okay, yeah, I got you #1 rankings on this 20-word long tail keyword, pay me my monthly retainer. And then the client comes back and says, yeah, but I'm not making any money on these keywords. Where do I start making money? At the end of the day, SEOs, whether they realize it or not, really should be thinking about how to make money with their SEO. Because think about it. The client is only going to pay you so long, and your boss is only going to tolerate you so long, and your business is only going to operate so long without making money if organic search is important for your revenue stream. You want to make money as soon as possible. You don't want to have to wait 6 months or a year because everyone says that's how long it takes to rank. Wrong. Complete bullshit. Complete and utter horseshit. People using this system sometimes rank in as quick as 12 days. #1 in as quick as 12 days. People rank on page 1 is as quick as 48 hours. And that's because they're doing proper keyword discovery to find the proper holes, the chinks in the armor, so to speak, where they can put that arrow in and kill the dragon, right? They're finding the chinks in the armor. They're finding the places where the competitors are weak. They're finding the strange ways of typing something in that nobody thought, or talking to Google that nobody thought. And they also had the most money because the AI analyzed tens of thousands of keywords for you and found this for you. So this is a really important component to start with. You should always start every single SEO campaign with this process. Whether you're using my AI or not, it doesn't matter, although you'd be a fool not to, because it saves you dozens and dozens of hours and scans thousands of keywords that you could never do with your human eyes. It does way more work than you could ever do as a human. And still remain competitive for sure. But whether you use the AI or not to do this, you have to do this, or the chances of you failing increase tremendously. So we want success. You will succeed. You can succeed, and you will do keyword discovery. And when you do, you're going to notice that's how, wow, okay, this is the night and day difference between easy SEO and tough SEO that is risky, that often fails. All right, so you guys excited? Are you pumped to get into keyword discovery so I could show you how this helps you find the ranking opportunities? Give me a pumped in the chat if you're pumped. Let me quickly check here see if there's any questions here in the tube views. Sylvana's watching. She says, what is SEO standing for? SEO stands for search engine optimization. Search engine optimization, Sylvana. It's generally the process of trying to rank in Google. So that's what it is. That's what it does. Trying to be #1 or close. Nick says, yes, we are, with giant exclamations. Great. I'm glad. That's the kind of excitement. That's the kind of enthusiasm that is an SEO who's going to succeed. All right, guys. So here's keyword discovery. It's pretty easy to use. You put in a keyword here. You put in a base keyword or a seed keyword. You see, I can go very specific with it, like NYC co-working space, or I can go very vague with it, like crypto or business internet. I do these kinds of keywords, these kind of seed keywords, when I would just want to see in general, how hard is it to rank in general in these niches? How much money in general do these niches make? These numbers are from the top 80 keywords to begin with, unless you've run more, and I've run tons in crypto. And it gives you a general sense. So you can help make business decision ideas here. You can help businesses and business owners get the right information here. Also, you can drill down further, like I have for some of them, like air quality testing, Ormond Beach, or rent photo booth, city state. This is I did for like a general, to see a general query, general protein, SEO software. You can also do it on existing websites and just see what it says, this website, what keywords it thinks this website is valid for as well. And see here, so once you get into the reports, so I can do this on the phone, right? Like when I'm with a client, I'm like, okay, this guy does NYC co-working space. I don't know that keyword from a hole in the wall because there are infinite keywords and I don't have infinite memory. I have a very finite memory, I assure you. So I have no idea. Like, I don't know how much this makes. So, but when I'm on the phone with the guy or I'm sending emails back and forth with the guy, this gives me a general sense of what I can bill him as an SEO. Or this will give a general sense of how much money you'll make if you are doing it personally. Or this will give you a general sense of telling your boss, should we bother moving into this area for our corporation? Is it going to make money? How well does it look? You could be like, yeah, well, it's only, on average, it's 16% tougher than the rest of the internet. And I'll get to the science behind that score in a little bit. And in general, it makes around 3,000 to 2,000 a month. Compared that to crypto, maybe we should definitely look into getting into crypto. It seems easier for some reason overall because it's new. That's the reason why, because it's so new. And wow, is it making a lot of money? Or wow, look, protein supplements. It's only 20% tougher. Maybe we should get into that. It has good money behind it as well. So you can make some higher level business decisions there, and also help guide your client, which is either yourself. Your client is yourself. Your client is your boss, your company, or your client is your client. And you could do all those things. Help guide those clients really at the end of the day, because that's what SEO really is. SEO, we're business consultants at the end of the day, and it is our job, as much as we might have forgotten it, is to make money, is to make as much money for the business as possible. And let me tell you why you want to do that, because the more money you make for the business, the more money you make for your client, the sooner you make it, the more money you will make, and the more likely you will stay signed on, and you will get more success. So that is why it's key to do the keyword discovery phase. You must do the keyword discovery phase. If you learn anything from this course today, learn that I have to start every single SEO campaign, and every single few months I need to rerun it to check to make sure it's still accurate or look for new keywords to build pages about. You need to do the keyword discovery phase. Okay, so let's take a look. When you drill down, you're going to start to see individual searches you could try to rank for. And they're going to be sorted originally. The keyword difficulty will run. And when this is done, it'll be sorted by final return on investment. Now, let me just go through this. So this is the keyword. You can view the SERP. This is the Google Ads competition, the year-over-year change, the ad CPC. Search volume, the traffic value. We give a score of traffic value, which is traffic times money. We give a trend value, which is how hot it is, the year-over-year change, times the money. And we have a general keyword return on investment. So this is our keyword revenue ballpark. Now, this is a rough approximation. Now, it is based on science, and so it's not a complete guess. We use very credited science. One, Google has publicly done a scientific survey and publicly announced that people generally make a 1-to-2 ratio earnings on CPC. Then we take 30% of the average monthly search volume, because that's generally what position number one gets, is 30%. And that's been consistent for the last 20 years, more or less. Used to be 33, now it's about 30. We take 30% of that traffic. We give it a standard 5% conversion rate. And then we up or down the conversion rate by how hot it is. So this would be 15% to 5%. So that would be like what, 5.2 or 5.1 or something like that, or 5.7% conversion rate, 5.07% conversion rate, I think. And then you say, okay, and then that's how much you'll make, right? Roughly. Now this can be off by as much as 50%. This could be down to 1,000. This could be up to 4,000, 5,000. But we know it's going to make you some money. This is going to make you way more money than this keyword. I guarantee you. I guarantee it, right? So that's a good thing to go by as just raw scientific data. The next thing to go by is the keyword difficulty. Now, when I talked about keyword difficulty, you can mouse over to get the actual percentage. And some, average is anywhere from negative 15%. So that's to say 15% easier than the rest of the internet, and goes up to 15% harder than the rest of the internet. And when you click them, you could drill down, you could see all the multiple different factors that we use in a very complex chain of thought ideation AI, which analyzes on a much higher level than any other tool out there, including SEMrush and Ahrefs, which quite frankly, their difficulty scoring is complete lies and terrible, because it is only based on backlinks, and that is all, as if backlinks was the only SEO ranking factor. It's not even the most important SEO ranking factor anymore. Google themselves have admitted it. It's not even the top 3. It's not even in the top 3 ranking factors anymore. But this is exactly what I'm talking about here, of finding a keyword that that you wouldn't think people are typing in, right? But I'll get to that in a second. So we do this complex chain of thought ideation analysis. The AI analyzes it, finds you the low-hanging fruit, finds you who's weakest, that you have the best chance of knocking off the SERP. And anyway, at any rate, final ROI is the ease times the money. So the easier it is, the more money it makes, that is the final return on investment. And this is the correct way to sort it, generally speaking. I'm going to give you two different practices you should implement. But generally speaking, the final ROI is the way to think about it. Because at the end of the day, I say something controversial all the time, and I'm going to keep saying it until people get it. Ranking number 1 in Google is not how you win at SEO. That might sound controversial. You're like, what, Josh? How's that possible? Ranking right here is not how you win at SEO. That's not it. Ranking number 1 is not how you win at SEO. It's getting to this position faster, cheaper, easier, in a way you can iterate, that you can build from scratch, and you don't need to buy a $10,000 domain that already exists. Doing tactics that are risk-free and are going to work for the duration of the company, for long term. That is how you win at SEO. Spending $5,000 a month to rank here in month 6 and then lose it in month 7 is how you lose at SEO. So people in SEO have got it kind of backwards. They think ranking number 1, that's it. That's what I want to do for any keyword. And that's not true. My 25 years of experience, let me tell you, that's not true, guys. That's not the way it works, right? The way it works is what gives you the better return on investment. This is how you stay hired and not fired. This is how you succeed as a business doing SEO, is getting the keywords that have the best return on investment and spending your money and time on those. Because you're going to rank faster, you're going to rank easier, you're going to make more money sooner, and Google's going to trust you better. Doing it this way and starting to try to start ranking for these right off the bat because the client just came to you and said, I want to rank for WeWork Broadway, New York, or I want to rank for Industrious New York, NY. And you're like, okay, is that even a good keyword to rank for? Blah, blah, blah. I know it is. I know I've been doing this 20 years. Don't tell me what the good keyword is. I'm going to tell you. That if you can get away, if you can convince your client or your boss or the other side of your brain not to tell you that, I'd be like, okay, well, I'm going to do some keyword discovery and maybe, you never know. We could find some other keywords that will make actual money and actually are possible to rank for as opposed to these ones. I guarantee you there's a 90% chance you will fail if that's your strategy doing this. And you will, within 6 months to 18 months, you will be gone. And I've seen it happen to dozens and dozens of SEOs. I've been doing this a very long time. I know more SEOs who have failed and dropped out of this business than I know current SEOs. Over 100 current SEOs. They're students in my group. And there's a couple of reasons why. One, just because of what I said about final return on investment, in that it's just the math, right? You just have to spend as little money as possible, as little time as possible, and make it as easy as possible to make as much money as you can, as fast as you can. But the other thing is this, and this is what a lot of people don't realize, is that Google has a trust factor. People have heard that trust is a ranking factor in Google, correct? People have heard that, yeah? Let me show you. I've shown this a lot. And I apologize if people are like, oh, geez, yeah, here comes Josh's example of where he got some wins. But this is a good example of exactly what I'm talking about here. These were all built up, no, not query parts, page. These were all built up with SEO Copilot, completely AI generated, completely AI driven. With the whole procedure is SEO Copilot here. And this is why I show it to you, because they didn't have, Nick says, we love the proven examples. Okay, I'm glad you do. I don't want to bore people with, okay, Josh, you've shown this before. You've bragged about this already, Josh. This is what it looks like for a new site. And I'm sure you guys have seen this before, where you're getting dots and dashes. For some reason, it looks like this and like this in your search console. It looks like this and like this. I'm sure you guys have seen that before. You can only see SEO Copilot. Thank you very much. Stop. Share the whole screen. Share the whole screen. There we go. I'm sure you've seen these dots and dashes before in your search console. You've seen it like this, and it's like this, and then you got rankings for a while, and then it disappears, and then it drops, and it's like this, and then you get dot. You're getting like dot, 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 dot. It looks kind of like this, right? That, if you're seeing this in your search console, that is exactly what I'm talking about, the trust. You have to build the trust up with Google. Todd says, yup. Yeah, I know, because that's how every site starts off. So you're not doing anything wrong per se. That's how every site starts off, right? And that Google, think of it from Google's perspective. They're under a lot of heat these days, right? And they always have been. And they have to make sure their users are so pleased and so happy with the search results they provide. They need to answer that question, so well. And so it's a risk. It's a giant risk for Google to try ranking you on page 1, right? Now, there's other potential search options out there as well. It's a huge risk, although Google still has the vast majority of search share, and they will for the foreseeable future. Google's still going to be the major contender for the next 10 years. You don't have anything to worry about. There's no one. People might take 5% away or 10% away their search share. Whoop-de-doo, they'll still have like 80% of the search share. So it's still well worth investing in Google for sure. But it's a huge risk for them to try you out on page 1. And so they have to make sure that you're a proven, trustworthy website. And how do you become a proven, trustworthy website? It is by going through this process, actually, to tell you the truth. It's by giving them content that's a slam dunk. It's by finding what queries are the easiest to rank for, building a report on those queries, giving them an article that's all in the green, whether AI wrote it or you hand wrote it, doesn't matter. The SEO factors still remain the same. And I would highly recommend you use AI to write it, because there's no way to build up enough trust fast enough in any lucrative niche without using AI these days, unless you want to work for 20 hours a day and sleep for 2 hours, which is not really feasible. And this is how you get ahead of your competitors, is by churning out more high quality human level articles than they can. And that's how you beat them, right? It's a race. Whoever can produce most, that's the highest quality, the cheapest, wins. And that magic ratio is only helped by AI, and only helping you right now because not a lot of people have realized I only have around 1,800, 2,000 users so far. Not a lot of people have realized that this is the future of SEO. AI is the future of SEO. AI is the future of every industry, by the way, but SEO is going to be first because we're so closely related to it. Keith asked a great question. Some clients complain about AI content. How do you address that? Perfect. Thank you very much, Keith. I'm going to put that here in my list of questions. I'll be very, very happy to answer that when we get to the end, or closer to the article portion anyway. So this is how you do it. What you need to do is you need to build up trust. And how do you build up trust? You build up trust by building the easiest pages first. You build at least 5 pages a day, 25 pages a week, 100 pages a month. And you need to have the biggest website that they've tried the keyword, they tried it out, and they liked it, right? They tried it once here, it didn't work. Tried it again here, it didn't work. Tried it again. Now we finally, like spark, flame. Now the users finally liked what we had. Now we had a slam dunk between the users asking a question, Google serving us up, the users terminated the search and gave the traffic signals, the short click and long click signals that tell them it was a check mark. Bing! And now we have been okayed a little bit. And bing, 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 the more check marks we get, the more these pages, all these tons of different pages start to rank, the more they get more rankings and more clicks and more impressions. The more the whole site gets trust and rankings and clicks impressions. The more pages and the more times users give us that check mark of, yep, this answered my question, I terminated the search, thank you, Google. Google goes, phew, all right, more and more and more, this is a safe site for me to use. and more, I can trust it, and more, I will serve it up. That's not something people realize. They think that the ranking algorithms are fair and equal. No, they are not. They are not fair and equal, right? It is highly biased to the people and the sites that they already trust, right? I mean, I think everybody knows this on some level, but they may not have thought it out loud like that. So what does that mean? Well, that doesn't mean, okay, well, I should start trying to rank for these not recommended ones right off the bat, right? This one makes money. WeWork NYC makes money, and that's what they want to rank for. That's maybe a terrible example because that's a brand search probably, but co-working space Manhattan, that's what you want to go for first? The answer is no. It's tough. It's 46% harder than the rest of the internet. Now that difficulty score, let me tell you right now, that is highly scientific, right? As I mentioned in my graduate studies, I was doing some scientific focus in my PhD, and in neuroscience, not really so much in neuroscience, but more in psychology, they use a lot of data, a lot of statistical data correlative analyses, which is basically huge studies with huge records in the database, and they find statistical patterns. And there is a number of records you need. They have a standard mathematical formula that's all science uses that proves that your statistical data correlative analysis is probably valid because you've reached the threshold of validity of the number of records in your particular study you're doing. You know, that's why the bigger statistical studies are generally better and more accurate. And I broke out the formula. I mean, it was taught to me when I was doing my PhD. I broke out the formula and I did the math. And we have millions and millions of difficulty reports in our database now with hundreds of thousands of different reports, millions of records, and we are well beyond the threshold for scientific validity. So when I tell you that this poll right here, like, you know, like the political polls are like Kamala and Trump are, or Donnie, Kamala and Donnie are matched right at 46% with a plus or minus 5% margin of error. My polls have way less margin of error. Like I'd say like 0.5% margin of error. So when I tell you, because this is measured across the anonymous stats across all of my 2,000 users who have been using this system like crazy, and there are over like 1.5, 1.6 million records by now. So this is 46% harder than 1.6 million other records across all of SEO. And that is pretty scientific at that point. So if this is wrong, this is only wrong by like 1% utter maximum. So when I tell you this is a tough niche, when my AI analyzes this and says this is 46% harder than the rest of the internet, than the rest of all SEO, you can take that to the bank. You can take that to the bank and be like, okay, well, this is 46% harder than the rest of SEO. You know how much money I had to spend for a 0% hard and how long it took? This is going to be 46% harder than that. And so you start to go, oh, maybe I shouldn't start with this. Maybe to save, and you shouldn't. And that's why I call it not recommended. Not that this is 158% harder than the rest of the internet. Wow, look at that. Not that you shouldn't go for these at any time. And not that a really powerful site couldn't go for these. And not that you couldn't work your way up to these kinds of queries one day. You definitely can. But it's not recommended to start with these, right? If you're starting out, whether you have a big site or you're starting out, you should always sort by final ROI first, because those are the best keywords. And if you're lucky enough to have a bunch of easy and average ones at the top, which we are here in NYC co-working space, you just go, okay, building. You just start building pages, right, that are easier and average. You just start building them in a carpet bombing approach. If Google starts to rank one or two of these but doesn't rank the rest, they're crawled but not indexed, 301 them to the one that Google liked and move on. And just keep going down the list, building 5 a day of the easier, the average, the very easy. And if you're like, Josh, I've run out of keywords to build on, then fine, come here and run a bunch more difficulties. I've got, in this particular one, I've got 240 particular options because I went very laser focused. This is a very specific laser focused. And this is what the client thought they should be ranking for, by the way. This is what the client thought they should be ranking for. As you can see here, the answer is no. NYC co-working space, not even in the top 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Spaces NYC co-working, for some reason, because that's just the way that people think, that you can never guess because humans are strange. No matter how long you've been in this niche for, is way easier. It's 35% easier than all other SEO niches, from the easiest niches to the toughest, payday loans and herbal Viagra. I've worked in all those niches, by the way, from the easiest to the hardest. And this is easier. Why? Because no one thought to optimize for it, because they didn't think people were typing it in, because they skipped this process, because SEOs have gotten lazy. So good for us, because we have an AI that does it for us. So we can still be lazy, but we're still doing SEO the smartest way, because the AI did it for us. And the AI can do it way faster and way better and way cheaper than you as a human or as an Upwork contractor ever could. The time of the Terminator is here. Don't complain about it, because the Terminator doesn't care. Get the Terminator on your side. Get my Terminator working for you, and laser focus in on the niche you should be trying to rank in or for. Okay. So, and if you're like, okay, Josh, when I sort by final return on investment, let me see if I can find one that's like that. Where a casino was a great one, actually. Where was another one that was bad? Protein. Yeah, I mean, there's less. There's a not recommended here right away. Very tough niche here right away. Tough niche here right away. And not all tough niches are built the same, by the way. Tough starts at 15.1%. 15% harder than the rest of the internet is not that hard, quite frankly. Like this whey-bolic protein, some people know what they're doing and are optimizing for it. Most do not. Look at how little backlinks there are. Although there are major brands here you have to contend with. Walmart, Amazon, GNC, eBay. But there are protein powder. But there are ones you could punt off, like this guy. Garage Gym Reviews. Look at this affiliate here. You could pump him right off of here. You could get him right off of here. He's barely optimized for this. He's only ranking here because everyone else was over optimized. They got punted out. But some niches looks like this when you start. You're like, okay, I sorted by final ROI and it looks like all this, Josh. What do I do? Okay, then you sort by keyword difficulty and you find where it's easy. And if there are gems, definitely build on them. This is going to make you money sooner, faster. This is going to make you money sooner, faster. Not a lot, but better than building on just this, right? Build on the very easy and easier and average, and keep building 5 of these a day. 5 pages a day, 5 days a week, 25 pages a week, 100 pages a month. That's how you built up the site weight and the site trust. And then they will start trying you for stuff that is, tougher. They will try you for it. Make sure your pages are ready when you get traffic. Make sure your conversion rate optimization is there. Make sure it's ready to make those conversions, those sales. My AI will help you with all that. Make sure you're answering the question. Okay, so does that make sense? Is that making sense to you, my friends? Keith says, Josh, does SEO Copilot have a tool to check over optimization for keywords on a site? That's a great question. I'm going to ask you, I'm going to address this later on, but what I'm going to ask you later on is, what do you mean? Do you mean like something like Ahrefs has or SEMrush has? It tells you what a site's ranking for? I mean, the answer is yes, actually, right off the bat. The answer is yes. You start with an existing website here and you run a report. That may not be what it is ranking for, but it is what it should be ranking for, which is really the thing you want to know, isn't it? Keith says poor rankings. Okay, so you want to be able to check to see if a site is not ranking well. Do you mind if I ask why? Like what in the SEO process that gives you? I'm just curious. Let me know, but I would definitely like to answer. Todd says yes. Great. So again, guys, I cannot stress how important it is for you to start with a keyword discovery. Keith says, specifically ranks that have dropped over time. Sure, okay. Well, Search Console would be the first one to go to for your own site. That's the only one I use, is Search Console, because it's the only one that is completely accurate to what Google showed and has a lot of details in it that the other rank trackers don't have. So you're talking about your own site, you definitely would want to use Search Console for that. But if you're not talking about your own site, let me know. Okay, so what's the next step? Okay, what's the next step? What you do, a couple of client sites. Okay, tell them to install Search Console and then check in Search Console and you'll see where they've been losing, where they're losing rankings. So you could try to get their rankings back for the ones that they lost, or you can just follow the process I'm teaching here and just build up new rankings. You could do that too, and the more you build up new rankings, the more it's going to shore up the entire site and build up all the rankings. Spending hours and hours finding where the clients have lost rankings might have some value somewhere, but when it comes down to SEO being an ROI game, it really isn't maybe the best use of your time. And also from a project client expectation management perspective, showing the clients where they've lost rankings, if you were responsible for those rankings, might not be the best thing to do. Show them how you're getting them new rankings might be a better thing to do. I don't know, it depends really on the project. But again, you definitely can show clients where they've lost rankings and say, hey, I can fix that for you. I can shore that up. I have another free way of doing that as well that doesn't really matter. Keith says, perfect, we'll use the tool ASAP. Yeah, finding what they should be ranking for is kind of more important. Go here and put the site in and see how well, like sometimes this comes back from Google Ads, and sometimes Google Ads is kind of, messed up. But put that in and say, okay, well, here's the rankings maybe you should be ranking for, or just go eyeball some of their main pages and then put those queries in and then see them like, okay, you think you should be ranking for NYC co-working space, but not really. No, that's not even in the top 6. It's Spaces New York NYC co-working. That's what you should be ranking for. And when we change to this, it's easier to rank for it. No one seems to be as relevant for it. And that's what trust is, relevance. You show you're more relevant for this, Google will trust you more, they'll try you out. And then you got the trust factor, you put more relevant pages, you get more trust factor, you give them more relevant pages, more trust factor, until it snowballs, until your site is a runaway train in rankings and you can do no wrong. If you're doing 5 pages a day, 25 pages a week, that happens in like month 3 to 6, depending on the niche, completely depending on the niche. So it shouldn't take long. And if you're like, Josh, that's nice, Josh, but, oh, Josh, that's nice. But I get these all the time. But how do I build 5 pages a day? That'd be like 20 hours of work. The answer is no, it wouldn't. The Keyword Spy report can be done in as little as 5 minutes, and the article can be done in as little as 5 minutes. And you're getting coffee and doing other work during that time. And then you go in, you check it out, wingo, bingo, bango. You up some buttons, you down some buttons, you ask CP to fix a paragraph here or there, and it's all in the green. And in the next few months, it'll just automatically produce in the green, period. To which you could just have your WordPress plugin installed and just say, when you're done, I don't even need to okay this. Although I probably would as a human being. AI is still in its infancy. I would still have a pair of human eyes in the editing process after the article is written by AI completely. Just give it a once over to make sure that it looks good to you, looks factual, looks good. Make sure it didn't put any fake testimonials in there and that you replace the fake testimonials with real testimonials, things like that. And then copy and paste it into WordPress, or just have the WordPress plugin installed to get it uploaded to WordPress, and away you go. That should take you an hour, tops, maybe 2, and then for the other 5 hours a day, I don't know, go play pickleball, whatever you like to do. Maybe start another site and diversify your income. Maybe start trying to do digital real estate. Go find out what's making a lot of money. Like here in maybe crypto, and start building start building pages that are making a ton of money on maybe this thing, whatever this is, and then rent pages out, make $1,000 a month per, or just build the site up, say, look, this is how much you can make a month. I'm going to sell it for, I don't know, 300,000 and sell a site for 300,000. How would you like to do that? Now is a great time with AI to diversify your income, for sure. I usually diversify my income by buying real estate, but I live in a part of the world where real estate is very expensive and it's a good investment. And it is sure always to go up, more or less. Okay, so that's what you do. So how would I build these things? Well, easy. You start with the final return on investment, or you start with the easiest. Either way, then you click this and click find the boosting keywords. Don't touch any of these. You can track your ranking position. Go ahead, get free rank tracking. So go ahead and put your URL in there. I like to, you could, if it's a local keyword, you definitely need to use your local area. And if it's not in English, you should select your local area. But otherwise, if it's in English, I like to use Tuvalu as the island nation, and I like to run it from there. And then it'll say, okay, Bing, it's running. And you see it's got this information thing here to say that it's running that one. You do that for 5 a day and you go get a coffee. Now, here's the second portion that I said that you don't really need to worry about. It's in reports. The AI is doing this for you automatically. Remember the days when we looked at competitors? Well, this is what most of the SEO industry does, is they look at competitors and they see the keywords that they can eyeball with their human eyes, which is like 0.1% of the actually important keywords, because Google doesn't do this by humans, of course. They do this with multiple different kinds of AIs that work in different kinds of ways that are not NLP, by the way. If you think the NLP demo that Google is using it for ranking for on-page semantic keywords, they are not, right? They're using that for the knowledge graph. It identifies entities for the knowledge graph. But the knowledge graph is not directly used in ranking. It's kind of like a ranking classifier. It's not a ranking booster. But that's what the other tools say that lie completely that Google uses. That's not how you would do the on-page. That's not the best way to do the on-page. In Underground University, which is my think tank, my mastermind group, which has been secretly testing and reverse engineering the algorithms for the last 10 years, that's how I know for a fact NLP is not being used. I also know for a fact that NLP is not being used. I also know for a fact that NLP is not being used because I have the leaked Google API documentation of all their ranking factors here. In no place does the words natural language processing or NLP ever show up anywhere in here, ever. Also, we tested it scientifically. It's not used. Google actually uses other algorithms like RankBrain, which they fully admitted, TWBERT, which they've put out white papers on and patents on, vector embedding, which they've done the same, helpful AI, which they've admitted and done the same, the review AI, neural matching, which they've fully admitted, BERT, which they fully admitted, which is now probably PaLM. It is a language model. And they use all of these AIs and more to make a composite scoring for your on-page keywords. And every single word is a ranking word. Every single word you write in the page, including the and and all the so-called stop words, which were how Google did it 15 years ago. And they've been important ever since Google introduced BERT. Because BERT is a transformer like ChatGPT. And if you try typing in a sentence into ChatGPT without the stop words, you're going to get very, very bad results. You need the stop words because that's what these transformers do. They're a grammatical subject predicate mathematical relationship. And so do you have to worry about any of that? Nope. We rebuild you all these models, right? And I'll just show you here, even though you never need to go look into this, I'm going to show you some of the bells and whistles of what we do. So here's the report that I just set to run. It's almost done now. This is the one I ran previously yesterday. RankBrain is the major ranking AI. We score it for you. We also show you what the competitors are using in all the different areas, if you care. Do you need to care about this? Nope. This is totally useless. I'm going to remove all this. You don't need any of this information. Although you could be like, oh, spaces in New York, co-working spaces in New York, the best co-working spaces in New York. You can kind of get an idea of what maybe they're looking for or what your competitors have done. But this is a much better vector embedding of what your competitors have actually done. The meeting is being broadcast to YouTube, my friend. So yes, there is a recording of it. It's been broadcasting to YouTube on my YouTube channel. My YouTube is /jbashins. You could find it here. Okay. He says, thanks. No problem, man. So this is a major scoring one that we use, the major score. The next one is BERT. Now, these are all the BERT entities that could be important. Here's another really important AI that Google uses. So important for ranking in 2024 that not really a lot of people know about. We call it query intent, but then that's where we totally differ in the SEO world of our rough approximations, our grossly wrong and rough approximations of what Google is doing. It's actually called query interpretation. You can actually find it in the Google documentation. So this is query interpretation. What is query interpretation? We call it query intent. Well, literally, when people type in this query, Google behind the scenes changes it into this query. That's literally what they do. When we type this in, they behind the scenes make it search this and return pages on this, not this, this. We call it query intent. Or if any SEOs talk about it at all, right? And when we talk about query intent, we tend to talk about CRO, and CRO is important, don't get me wrong, because it's with short clicks and long clicks that Google verifies all of this, which is public information, which has been totally admitted here in the API content warehouse. How they do it is the important question that I can teach you in Underground SEO University. 10-second sales pitch for Underground SEO University. If you are an existing paying SEO Copilot customer, I can give you a huge healthy discount on SEO University. It's definitely worth joining, and the discount is real, and it's a very generous discount. You can ask Nick, who's here in the Zoom call. Nick's not going to tell you how much the discount is because I swore him to secrecy. That's how good it is. But you can tell him that it is. You can ask him if it's worth joining, and if it's true that I give a discount, and I do. If you're a paying SEO's Copilot customer. Nick says, it's a great deal for the value of info provided. Thanks, Nick. I'll slip you that $20 later. I'll send you a beer through Amazon later. I would let it settle before you open it so it doesn't explode all over the place. Keith says, I'm joining. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. We got more people here. People are joining. Yes, it was okay, interesting, Marcus. Sure. Marcus said that to me privately, so I'm not sure if it's supposed to be private, but I agree, Marcus, for sure. And yes, that was an unsolicited review from Nick. Well, I actually did solicit it right before he said it, but it was unprompted before that. Anyway, this wasn't a plan, I just knew he was here. Okay, so Nick laughs. Yeah, I can't say it's unsolicited. I literally just queued him up to say it, but so that's about as solicited as it gets. But this wasn't planned ahead of time. I don't have any monetary relationship with Nick or anything to say those things. Okay. Guys, it's really important. So I really want to show this part off because it's important later for the article building, which you can override this if you want, but I would not recommend you do. When people type in any query, and it's any query, Google does this. And this, it rewrites it. Literally, it interprets the query interpretation. It's in the search engine documentation that Google provides if you know where to look for it. Totally public. They just call it something else. You will know what that is if you join SEO University. So when you're writing this page here, you really have to be talking about this, co-working spaces and NYC and features and options available, and most importantly, cost and comparison of co-working spaces in NYC. So it looks like they want some kind of what we would call a review style page. You have to have a compare and contrast, a cost and comparison of various co-working spaces in NYC, and that's very important, right? You can also see that in the competitor HTML widgets. Now, the rest of the SEO world calls this page type, right? And in our gross approximation, to make it easier for us to do SEO in our heads, which is over. That game is over. SEO in your head is dead, right? You have to use AI to analyze things at a much more finer tuned degree. In our gross approximation for SEO, There's been like 5 page types total. There's a local services page, there's an e-commerce page, a category page, a review page, an information page. That's basically it. And that's completely wrong. Again, in undergrad at university, we completely reverse engineered and tested all of this. Google takes the entire shard collection, which is their way of saying the entire search results they send back before the sort to snippet brain resorts them. Google works on a 2-sort system, probably a 3-sort system now with the AI generated content at the top. Maybe 3, but still probably 2. And it's controlled by something called snippet brain, by the way. Search in here for snippet brain. You're going to find it. Rank brain, snippet brain, and spam brain. That's the triumvirate of Google rankings. Rank brain will index you and rank you more. Spam brain will de-index you and de-rank you more, and both based on numerous AI signals, and either one, like an umbrella of AIs. And snippet brain is and also an umbrella of AIs, and it chooses what snippets to put up and reorders the second sort based on some other things. And that's called QDD, Query Deserved Diversity. And that initialism has been around for 15 years. Google has already told us about that. Okay. How, if they're not doing that page type, Josh, how do they do it? Well, they scan tens of thousands of lines of HTML from everyone from number 1 to spot 100, and they do a machine learning vector embedding and determine as on a trajectory of HTML tags, when you start to approach spot number 1, this is what a vector is, what HTML tags show up more, and what HTML tags show up more at the bottom. And that gives pages that are using similar HTML structure as the winning pages, as per the rank brain short clicks and long clicks, gives them a huge ranking boost. This is how you make sure you have the proper type of page. And it's different for every query space. For every single query space that the knowledge graph has been able to isolate, it's different for all of them. So, and let me tell you how complex this is. In case you have it in your head, you can do this manually. You can't. Not only is it the exact kind of elements that are being used or tags, it is the embedding of the elements that is being used. This needs to go into this. And not only is it the embedding of this object into this object when it gets rendered into the document object model, which can also be affected by your CSS and your JS as well, of course. So looking at the HTML wouldn't be enough for you anyway these days, because a lot of people are using Ajax and JS to process HTML that you don't even get to see, that only Google sees. Not only is it that, it's the actual attributes and the attribute values. This actual value is what you need to be using with this attribute on this element, beside this element, nested in this element, nested in these elements. That is the structure. That is the depth you need to go to recreate and represent to have the correct quote unquote page type. So now you realize how complicated this is. And that's why we've known about this for years in underground at university, and we just said, we know it's true, we've proven it through science. We just know that it's impossible for us to manually take advantage of this until AI came out, and I was like, oh great, I can build something to do this now. And it analyzes it for you and amalgamates it for you. It vector embeds the correct ones and creates it for you. This much HTML, no less, in this order, in this way, with these attributes, with these attribute values, no less and no more. You need to fit this footprint, because that's the footprint that Google has that makes it the correct, appropriate page, quote unquote, as far as their AI can tell. And we render it here to give you an idea of what this would look like with sans any style. You need to have the square footage for this. You need to have the people. You need to have references. You need to have features. You need to talk about your unlimited coffee and tea, because they all talk about this. Apparently, it's vectors towards spot number 1. There's some ideas that vector towards spot number 1. You need to be trusted by Fortune 500 companies. You need to have the logos of them here. You need to have a contact us today, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You need these different kinds of structure, element, and content. If you don't have this, you're not going to rank anywhere near as well. anywhere near as well. Google's not going to trust you as much and try you as easily. So here's the good news. Well, let me give you the bad news. Here's the bad news. You need all this. If you don't have all this, you're not paying attention to this, you are not going to rank very well. You're going to fail. Here's the good news. The AI does it all for you. You never need to look at any of this. You never need to worry about any of this. Keith says, this is mind-blowing. I'm glad your mind is blown. My mind was blown when I discovered it as well. Late at night, my eyes bleary, doing SEO testing for 10 hours a day and being like, holy fucking shit. Look at what they do. And I told my students, and their minds were blown too. And then they said, how do we take advantage of it, Josh? And I said, we don't. we can't do this manually. We'll just have to sit on it for a long time. Until now. So these are the HTML widgets that you would do well to implement and fill in with your own true, real, factual content, which my AI can do if you give it to it. I'll show you that in a second. The good news is that we do this all for you. We score this all up. We have the total score of all the entities that are phrases and entities that are words. Both words can be entities and phrases can be entities, by the way. We add that all up and we give all this information to the article builder. And in the article builder, we tell it how to build the article. And so I'll get to that in a second. But does anyone have any questions about those reports? We have other information in the reports. If you care to look, how often do I look at it? Like never. It doesn't really matter. I don't care what other people are doing. And it's kind of a waste of time to look at what they're doing. The AI has analyzed all that for me. Really, I can look at the competitors here and I have a whole bunch of data. The Google semantic scoring is sometimes useful to look at to get out things that are probably irrelevant. Like this guy's probably irrelevant. This guy's probably irrelevant. I don't know how to pronounce your name. It's Abdirazak. Sorry if I mispronounced your name, my friend. You says, I'm a genius. You're a genius. Thank you. I appreciate that. I don't know if I'm a genius. I know I've been doing this a long time. I know I'm really, really tired. That's what I know. I know I'm slightly on the spectrum, and so maybe I think of this differently than other people. I don't know. But it's my job to get you rankings. That's what I do. I do the research, I do the studying, and I help build software, and I help build courses to get you the rankings. That's what I do. It's a full-time job. But because SEO is easy enough, I do have some time to do some SEO on the side. So you can look at this stuff, but I never really do. Test pages is something special just for SEO students. No one else has access to it. Basically, the AI is doing all this work for you. You don't really need it, quite frankly. So let me see here. This one here says the same thing. Yep, it's got the same kind of deal. Oh, interesting. It changed. Interesting. It's streamlined down. That's fine. Okay. It still will have the same general idea. All right, so let's go to the article builder. So then how do you get this? Okay, hold on, first. So before I go to the article builder, tell me, does anyone have any questions about that? You don't really need to look at it, but does anyone have any questions about how that works? Let me go to the YouTube, see if there's any questions. No questions here, fantastic. Any questions here in the Zoom about the reports, how that works? Okay, great. Jordan says, so if you get a list of keywords that are basically all the same and tightly matched, what do you do? That's a great question, Jordan. I will answer that afterwards. Let me put this here, boom. This one has already been answered, boom. Abdirazak, which is a cool name, which I presume is Arabic, I presume, says, so it's automatic, all the code stuff. Yeah, all this stuff is automatic. This is a second step that you need to do a keyword spy report. You need to run the keyword spy report from here, just run a report here, or you're in keyword discovery, and you've found the keywords you want to build on, right? I'm like, okay, I want to build this keyword. Look how much money I'll make building on this keyword. I click here, I say find boosting keywords. I say, it's in English, so I'll just sort out all the geolocations factors and personalization factors and say continue. and boom, it'll run it from there. You can run 20 from here. You can run as many from here as you want, and it'll build them for you. And then the only thing you need to come in here is look to see if they're done. I could also click here to generate an article from here on the report screen. Could generate an article here. It'll tell you if the article's already been generated. And then once the scores run, it'll tell you how well it scores, if it's in the red or in the green. So I can run article from here, but let's go to article builder. So let's choose this one here and say, okay, actually, yeah, okay, let's go. All right, so generate article. So you click generate article. This is the high quality article writer version 2.1. I've done a number of iterations of this. It does a really good job. It does a very good job getting most of these scores in the green. In the next couple of months, hopefully before the new year, I'll be able to have everything in the green. One click, fully SEO optimized in the green. For now, it gets 1 or 2 in the green, and you have to do a little bit of jiggery pokery, not a lot, to get it into the green if you kind of approach it in a systematic way, which I'll show you. You'll notice here, it says the topic of the article is AI assisted. You'll notice right here, you get what we got before from the reports was the query interpretation. So that's why this should be the topic of the article. This is the query interpretation, 1. 2, actually, yeah, 1. Now, if you want to add and be like, be really salesy, you want to say that, or you want to be like, be very friendly. You can start giving it some basic instructions here. You could give it all kinds of basic instructions. I wouldn't paste in like 1,000 words, but you have a few hundred words you could put in here. And the high quality article CP writer is going to take that into account. And it will take those suggestions into account. In fact, it will take all the suggestions into account as much as the rest of the content that comes from the AI supports what you asked it to do. It will almost always write in the third person. It'll almost always write from an expert perspective using expert verbiage, because that's how you get the EAT. That's an acronym from Google, the experience, the expertise, the authority and trust. You're only going to have the authority and you're only going to get the trust, again, if you're writing the content and it's high quality. It has to show that that you're experienced. It has to show that you have expertise in this subject, because as per what Bill Slosky, rest his soul, said, who he was a major SEO guy for many years, who would always analyze the patents that Google would put out, and he analyzed the mountaintop algorithm. I guarantee you they're using this. I've tested it. I know for a fact they're using this. It's also suggested a little bit here in the API documentation that you need to use the verbiage of all the other experts and have the expertise of all the other experts. You need to talk about the topic in the way that they do. You need to speak authoritatively about it. Everybody thinks EAT has to do with backlinks. They're dead wrong. They're dead wrong. And of course, Google doesn't correct them, because Google doesn't want us to know how to do SEO. Google wants us to fail and buy ads so they make more money. Google would love nothing more than to destroy SEO. Google is not your friend. But they can't, because we can make web pages any way we want. And we're making this is fully white hat. Everything I'm doing here is completely white hat. Completely white hat SEO, making the most relevant, high quality article, and just doing it in an efficient way, which Google has absolutely no problem with, but I'll answer that after, because somebody asked that. So I suggest you leave this here and let the AI generate something. You could change it later. I also suggest you keep this text here, and that means it will use the competitor page type or the HTML widgets that it picked up. If you don't want to use this, you're like, I don't want to use this, you can give it any instructions here. You can say, give me a lot of tables with data that help users make decisions. You can do that. Let's try that. Give it a lot of tables with data that help users pick the right selection here. Because you want to make the page as useful as possible. That's basically what Google loves tables as well. Here's another way that you can get the content to come out exactly as you like it. You could use this thing called the custom knowledge base. You would click this and import a file. The file has to have a .txt extension, It could have any kind of prefix, but the extension has to be a .txt. How does the custom knowledge base work? It works like this. Here's the guideline on our site. As I said, it has to have a .txt extension. This, you have to give it clear and comprehensive instructions. This is exactly like giving a writing brief to a writer, except that this AI will follow it better and is way faster and far, far cheaper. You can give it product details. You can give it the target audience. You can give it tone and style. You can give it key points to cover. For example, for the query CBD oil for cats, I made up a fictitious product called Ultra Pet TM oil for cats. And I told it it's $79. It has a 4-star rating, and it improved coat health and reduces anxiety in cats. I also gave it an author profile. You can give it a primary topic focus, and it will appear in a, you decide how you want it to appear, and it will mesh with the page type, right? So for example, I gave it this, this is the actual file. I said, use this author profile, did it like this. I said, write about this product. So it did, it used all this information. I said, use these testimonials. These were fake, of course, because I made them up in AI for an example, but you should use your real testimonials. If, it probably wouldn't hurt you. I'm about to sneeze, sorry. Excuse me. It probably doesn't hurt you to put a testimonial on a page, even if it's not in the page type. But if it's in the page type, if you go in here and you see in the page type it had testimonials with stars, you definitely should then make a custom knowledge base and give it to it and say, use these testimonials. Here's the stars. Here's the real people. In the US, I'll let you know, I'm not a lawyer. I can't give legal advice, but I did see that apparently there's been some FTC ruling that's now law that it is illegal to give fake testimonials. I'll let you know. In the US. Again, I'm not a lawyer, can't give legal advice. Don't know if that's true, valid, or what, but I did see it. So I'm letting you know that I would recommend you get real good testimonials and you use real good ratings and testimonials. And you can give it that information. Jordan says, yes, FTC is enforcing this. Yeah, that's what I saw. So just make sure that if my AI puts some fake testimonials in there, in terms of Google rankings, we've tested it and it works great. Google can't tell they're not real testimonials, at least not yet. But apparently now it's illegal. So be very careful. I'm giving you full warning. If there's testimonials in there, you've got to make sure they're real, true testimonials. Got to protect yourself. I don't want to see anybody get in trouble. Okay, and you can say, give me a URL, the title, and the meta description as well, please. And you can say, go. It'll erase the CP history and it'll erase the existing article. If it exists, I'll say yes. And it'll download your CP discussion for you if you want to keep all that information, just in case you want to keep it. You can delete this file if you don't want it, but it gives you all the recommendations. Another thing to notice, you notice how CP works? I had an existing article in here. It gave me a message and said, hey, these are the scores that are in the red. This is how you would fix this and how I recommend fixing it, right? It gives you all these, it tells you everything that's in the red. So it's basically telling you how to do SEO, saying all the stuff that's in the red, and here's my suggestions. Use the up score and down score buttons located at the top of the toolbar, right here. And to adjust your scores. You want these scores to go up, use the up score. You want the scores to go down, use the down score. Keep trying different combinations till you get closer to the green range. If your article is lengthy, consider asking me to help you rewrite or expand it section by section. This way we can ensure each part is optimized effectively without hitting token limits. And it tries to give you some encouragement to keep pushing towards those green scores, right? I want you to succeed. And so CP is here to help you. See, he has a white hat, he's white hat. Cute little CP. CP is gonna get smarter and smarter as things go on, by the way. He's not just a chatbot. He's fed certain amounts of very important information, both behind the scenes you don't see and the stuff you do see in front of the scenes. Okay, so this is going to run for a bit. Now, let's go to another article here. Actually, let's go to reports. The generate article could take a while because it has to retry it. It can retry it up to 30 times to try and get things right and make things look good. It is not easy to get the generate article to work. The generate article, also, I think somebody asked this. So some clients complain about AI content. Can you address that? Yeah. So I know why they complain about AI content, and that's because the AI content that every other tool produces is garbage. And it's garbage because you're just going right over to ChatGPT and they're saying, write me an article on this. And it writes the most prosaic, business basic, boring article ever that is a low quality article, because there's way more low quality articles out there than there are high quality articles, right? For every high quality article, there are 10 million low quality articles. And that's exactly what Google has tons and tons and tons of algorithms and AIs to weed out. The vast majority of Google's algorithms in here are to weed out content. See how many different spam classifications they have? The vast majority of Google's ranking algorithms are to detect you and filter you out, not to boost you. It's like 1,000 to 1. For every one ranking algorithm, there's 1,000 de-ranking algorithms. And having low quality content is one of them, because they see it all the time, and that's all that ChatGPT is based on. In their corpus, the majority of the content is low quality. So I have to do a very complex chain of thought ideation to get CP to find the current factual information and only use current factual information. That's the other problem with AI content, is that it is generally hallucinatory and makes things up. Now I can't stop AI doing that completely. And if the page type says I want testimonials here, it can sometimes put in testimonials that you need to replace with the real ones. But ultimately, when you put it on your site, you guys are responsible for the content you put on your site. But I'm saying I want to help you. Don't put bad testimonials up there, obviously. From an SEO perspective, it seems to rank fine. Even helps you if you need testimonials. But I would use real ones, obviously, because it's now the law. But generally AI content from ChatGPT or any of them, Perplexity, any of them, they're all using basic LLM models, and all of their general content sucks. The reason why we don't suck is because we use advanced trained models, and we use a very complex chain of thought ideation that goes through a number of steps to ensure you have the most current, up-to-date factual information that is producing the exact kind of high quality content, which is like a 60 to 80 checkpoint list that no other AI does, or even thinks to do. Okay, so let's look here. Let's see, this is done already? Oh, it is, okay, boom. Okay, so this finished in what? 5 minutes, the time it took me to explain all that. So here we go. So this finished already, boom. And it did what I asked. It put a lot of tables in here. Great, that's what I wanted it to do. That's what I told it to do anyway. Now what we'll do is we'll run all of the numbers here. The numbers will be different because that's the old numbers from the old article. Okay, so this is pretty good. The heat score, it's helpful. It's already in the green. It's got all these things. It provides original information, 8 out of 10. It draws on other sources, 8 out of 10. It has a descriptive, helpful summary of the content. It is the kind of site, kind of page you want to bookmark or share with a friend, 8 out of 10. It presents information in a way that you would trust it, 9 out of 10, et cetera, et cetera. It gives you a specific score, a proprietary objective score as to whether or not it is high quality. We also have all this other information. The spam score for the URL is 0%. Spam score for the title that we automatically generated for you is 0%. So this is a great title, great URL, great meta description as well. You'll notice, and you notice the boosting keywords for the meta description are different boosting keywords than it is for the title. That's because Google has a different AI with different entities trained on different content for the meta description. I bet you didn't know that. Nobody else knows that. And the last thing it doesn't like, what does it think about the H1? It might complain about the H1. The H1 is very, very picky. And that's on purpose because a lot of people really stuff the H1 full of bad information. Okay, and then it has a problem with some of the body content. All right, so now also somebody asked, one of the questions was, how do I generate articles and how do I get all the scores in the green? So I'm going to Address that now. Okay, so you just click this to generate the article, but it has to be done after the report's done, and the report should be done after you did keyword discovery. Here's the thing. So let me go through the scores and why they're important and what they do and what's more important than what's not. The most important score here is the Google Semantic Score. The Google Semantic Score is based on all of the entities that we score up for you and counts up the amount you're using these entities and gives you a score based on them. We missed business, we missed the entity New York, best, top, interesting, okay. And we find the average of all your competitors, and they're on average 48 to 58. There is such a thing as under-optimization. This is the traditional on-page thing you're trying to do here, is you're trying to get the right keywords that are related to this in the right places and spots at the right frequency. And we've analyzed it, and your competitors are between 48 and 58 as a score. This came out at 27. So this score needs to go up. This one correlates with rankings the most. This is at most off by 1 or 2%. We have tens of thousands of records, so this is highly statistically valid and relevant. And it is what correlates with rankings the most. I do a regular deep dive in the data of correlating tens of thousands of ranking pages with their semantic score. And we know and also I've tested this in single variable testing in undergrad at university for years. And this is the thing we tested the most because it was the biggest SEO ranking factor in terms of for OnPage, where you put your keywords, what keywords you put in, and how much you stuff them in, and how much you don't. I can tell you, under optimization, being under 48 here will de-rank you the worst. So this page will not rank well right now because it's way under. And being over optimized, being at like 60 and higher, will start to de-rank you semi-bad. The next one that correlates with rankings the most is a tie between the spam score, the body spam score, or any of these spam scores. Any of these spam scores being in the red, the higher these are, the worse you will rank, and the average predictability length. The average predictability length is kind of an AI content detection. It's how many times on average you're allowed to have the exact words that an AI would produce and put in order, how many words you're allowed in order that an AI would do on average per sentence. Now, just to get technical, it's not actually words, it's tokens, which are word pieces. And to get technical, this doesn't necessarily just detect AI content. It also detects prosaic content, business basic boring content, whether an AI wrote it or not. It's how predictable your text is. It's like, yeah. You know, using all the colloquialisms, using all at the end of the day, you want to have the highest business, all the colloquialisms, all the phrases, all the turns of phrase that business uses. It's so boring. All the prosaic writing that's not writing engaging, high quality content that's useful and informative and engaging. This needs to be, if you want to rank number one, it highly correlates to having no more than 4.13 of those most average words used in a row in order. 4.13 is the score on average per sentence of what you'd be able to do. This means you're only actually 0.1 off. This score I could ignore probably at this point. It's close enough that it's like ranking number one or number two. It's close enough. What I can't ignore right now is this score is the most important. This has to be in the green, or like 1 or 2 points higher. That's it. This has to be there. This can't be at like 5, but it's because it's only like 0.1 off. That's fine. The other one I really need to fix is this one, the body spam score. And if you're like, how do I fix it? What do I do? You need to read the analysis of what it says and take that as a general guideline. And this is what it says. It says the content begins with a clear and relevant introduction to co-working spaces in New York City, which aligns well to likely query intent, which it knows. However, the phrase co-working spaces in NYC is repeated unnecessarily, indicating potential keyword stuffing. Additionally, while the text mentions relevant topics like community and corporate integration, it lacks variety in phrasing and could benefit from a more natural language. To improve, the author should reduce the repetition of the main phrase and incorporate synonyms or related terms to enhance readability and engagement. A quality rater which again are the Google quality raters. We've trained this off of their documentation. Might find this page somewhat useful, but would likely not pass it for #1 ranking due to the redundancy and the lack of depth in the content. Okay. And of course, it didn't like the H1 either. It didn't like the H1 either. So this is so those are the scores, and those are the ones you need to fix in that order. So how do we fix these things? There's a number of ways of fixing these things. A great number of ways. The first thing you need to address is the semantic score, because it's the most important and it's the base you're going to build everything else off of. Another key clue of why this is low is because it just basically hasn't used enough entities, enough important SEO entities stuffed in enough places is generally the answer. But also because it's too small of an article, right? Now we write smaller articles on purpose. A smaller article is better for reading. A smaller article is better for the user. And if we can get away with writing a smaller article, that's better. Google does truncate longer articles. There's the myth in the SEO world that a longer article will rank better. It is a complete and utter myth. It is totally false. Do not believe their rumors. Everything I do is based off of science and not a wild guess, and definitely not rumors. If I hear any other SEO saying it, I tend to disbelieve it just as a matter of course until I can scientifically test it. So the first thing I need to increase the content size here. Okay, so there's a number of ways I can do that, right? The easiest way is just asking CP. Hey, can you write some more content? But giving CP some information here would probably be the best things to do. So I'm going to take this, Control-A, Control-C. I'm going to say, hey, CP, just to make sure he has the article. He's supposed to have the article. Here is the current article. Here is some more content we could add. Okay, now I'm going to go up here and go to content. This is the best way to add really helpful content. I'm going to go to the helpful content update, and I'm going to click this, 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 and this. I'm going to say write. What it's going to do is going to take the actual training from Google's quality raters guidelines and from their documentation, and it's going to show you how to add this content in, assuming it's not already added in. Take this, close, I go down to the bottom here again, paste this in, and then I'm going to say, please take the latter content that has not been added yet and put it into a section with a list and or a table that I can add before the conclusion. And CP goes, okay, no problem. So CP right on me. It'll allow me to put this right here. Boom, 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 boom. And it says, here's a suggested section. So did we already talk about vibrant communities? I don't see anything vibrant already. Does the word vibrant show up? Nope. Okay, so here we go. Here's some additional benefits with more tables. Boom, boom, boom. Take this, put this down here, place this, boom. There we go. Donezo. So we've added in some additional benefits, co-working spaces. I believe it was using H2s for these, so we'll make this an H2. There you go. Save it. All right, now what I do is I added in a number of words here. Go to the bottom of that, go up here, go up here. Now I go to report, rerun this. How much content did that add? It added a fair amount of content. Jordan says, okay, on the scores, 2 questions. So the AI is generating an article, but it might not fall into the ideal ranges upon initial output, and we need to tweak it? Yes. In other words, it won't be generated all in the green? Correct. It's very hard to get the article all in the green. Although I am endeavoring to try and get an AI to do this. It's difficult enough that humans are asking me how to do it. So imagine how difficult it is to get an AI to do it, but I'm going to try and do that. He says, you will always need to edit a bit like you do here. You don't need to. It depends on your approach. Remember in SEO, there's a difference between spray and pray and surgical SEO. We're in the middle on something I call carpet bombing, like targeted precision carpet bombing. Like if you've seen the latest Apple TV show Masters of the Air, it shows how the Americans were doing precision bombing during World War II, how they'd fly during the day, which was very dangerous for them, but it was able for them to precision target where their munitions were dropped. That's the kind of thing, but they dropped a lot of bombs just to make sure they hit it. That's what we're doing, right? So if you're doing carpet bombing, you don't need necessarily to edit it. I would get them all in the green if that's what you mean by editing it. However, oh, what the hell? Now we have two conclusions. What's going on? What's going on? Conclusion. Oh, I'm in this thing. But yeah, but however, that even being said, even if the AI is generating it all for you, and even if it's like we're like a few months in the future, and it's like the most smart AI ever, and it doesn't really need that much help, I would still check it, because you got to make sure it didn't accidentally put any testimonials in here. You got to that aren't real. You got to make sure if it's a law client, there's a legal issue there, right? If you've ever worked for a law client, they need to okay all the content you put on there, because it could be a legality issue, a liability issue. So there's many cases in which no matter how good AI content gets, no matter who's doing it, no matter where you get it from, a human pair of eyes should definitely go over it to make sure it's a good article. But the time you skim it and go through it and just check it is way, 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 way less than having to research all of this yourself and write it all yourself, and then research all the competitors where to put in the SEO keywords and doing that as well. We've taken 20 hours of work and brought it down in 20 minutes. And if you're like, Josh, I never took 20 hours to make my pages, and I rank just fine, my answer is going to be not for long. Not for long. I've been doing this 25 years. I'm here to warn you, not for long. It's got to be high quality. Got to be high quality. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. So like I said, I added this content in and the score went up somewhat. Okay, great. Now what do? Well, I'm now closer. I'm at 1,100 words. I can check in here and see if I have all the spread keywords. I have all the spread keywords here. So that's good. Now what else do? Well, here's another thing you do. This is the easier way. Highlight a paragraph and use the up score button. This is going to have the chance of bringing all the scores up. And replace. It's going to stick more keywords in. Take this sentence, upscore it. Replace. You see how it starts just jamming in content? Upscore. Replace. Upscore. Replace. And finally, upscore. Replace. Replace. Now, that is going to pretty substantially increase this. Fantastic. Hey, I made this bold. F off. There we go. And by stuffing in keywords. Many co-working spaces in New York City. Stuffing in the exact keywords we want. We might need to tone it down a little bit afterwards, but that's besides the fact. So what you do is you go to the top, you start upping the scores, and you go down to a point, and then you go down to the very bottom, and then you up all the scores then you down the scores to reduce it. So you go to the top, do the up score, go all the way down, and then you work from the bottom, use the down score, go all the way to the top. That's how you get all these scores up, and then you bring them back down so that they're in the green. So I did these ones. Upscore this, replace. Now this is going to make it more spammy because I'm saying NYC co-working spaces a lot, but upscore this, replace, upscore this, replace, upscore this, replace, and finally upscore this, replace. It's not going to make all of them super huge. It might not. You can also get CP to rewrite it as well. Now where am I? Now I'm at 57. Great. I'm very close. Now this could go up as well because I've added more writing. It did? Great. Let's get this. Let's bring this up. Now you might be like, Josh, okay, how come you got in the green here? Why do you keep going? Because now I want to go way beyond the green. It added in that. I don't need that. Now it's going to be, I want to go way beyond the green here. And so I could bring both down and get these, and these into the green afterwards. So you'd add a lot of content on top, and then you trim it down, is what you do. Kind of like how you build muscle for that's the Marvel movie secret. What these guys do is they take like 6,000 calories a day and eat all this protein and put on all this weight and muscle and density. And then they go on a starvation diet and take it all off and cut the muscle with more cutting exercises so they get that physique look. Jordan has given me a screenshot. I'm looking at it. Hopefully it's not porn. Okay, good. Yeah, so we got 3 in the red here. Jordan says, I just posted an article from a client that ranks #1 for Evo, ICC name, but the scoring in this software says this. Why do you think this article gets these scores and still ranks #1? Because these are not the only factors, Jordan. So there's other factors. I don't know how easy that keyword is. I don't know how much trust you have on your site. Like I said, after you build up trust with Google, you can get away with almost anything, right? I don't know how terrible all your competitors are either. And I don't know if these are accurate readings, quite frankly. Sometimes the readings are not quite accurate if you don't generate it in our system. If you just copy and paste a page in, you can run a quick report, but sometimes it's not quite accurate. So for me to guarantee that people are going to rank, they need to be in the green because that's what my stats say. Can you break those rules? Of course you can. Do you sometimes rank? Yeah. Yeah, people also win the lottery, right? Somebody wins the Lotto 649 every week. And that's a lottery up in Canada. I don't know if you guys have it in the States. Someone wins it every week. It doesn't mean that you can base your business off of winning the lottery. If you keep doing this, you will get nabbed eventually. The stats prove and show. Jordan says, I love winning the Google lottery, but it's so rare, haha. Yeah, I would probably presume that this is a very easy niche and or you have a very trustworthy site. And you said it's for a local niche? Yeah. It's EVOICL, city name. Okay. Well, because it's local, it's probably really easy to rank for, probably. And he says it's a trustworthy site. Yeah, that's it, guys. You got to build up the right way. Once you get a trustworthy site, then you can start getting away with shit for a little while. Just like once you get healthy and you got that Marvel 6-pack, you can eat a bit of ice cream every now and then, but you can't do it too much because then you start losing the gains you make. It's the same kind of idea. Oakley dokleys. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to build these all up way higher is what I want to do. So let's build this up way higher. Boom, boom. Make these bold again. Bold, bold. Boom. Replace. Boom. Now I feel like, Josh, these are gross. I don't want to use these. Patience. Wait. I'm gonna trim them all down. I'm building them up first, and then I'm going to trill them down. Okay, let's turn that off from this and do that. Okay, there we go. Boom. Okay, now where are we? Boom. Now we're higher. Good. And this is going to be high as well. Good. This is going to be much higher as well. Probably. More or less the same. Doesn't really matter. When you add lists, actually, it starts cutting up the AI content. There's ways to totally beat the AI thing. And if I run the spam score again, I bet you it'll be just as bad, if not higher, because we stuffed in a whole bunch of SEO keywords. Oh, really? Interesting. The body says, meh. The body says 20%. Oh, okay. It likes some of the stuff that we added, some of the different phrasing that we used. Okay, fine, great, good. That doesn't always happen. Now it just hates this, fine. Now we go back here and we go, okay, now we need to bring this back down to 60 to 58. So now I highlight this and now I downscore it. Replace. Highlight this, that one's pretty good. Highlight this, downscore it, replace. Highlight this, downscore it, replace. Highlight this, downscore it. This will bring all the scores down, and it uses a much more dynamic and much more active tense writing. Better writer. How do you pick what to downscore? The biggest chunk of text. It says, how do you make sure you're not cutting something important? The biggest chunk of text, the biggest sentence, the biggest paragraph. I'm doing carpet bombing. I don't really care. Just to make sure I didn't make it not helpful, I'll rerun the heat score at the end to make sure they're all in the green. The AI will tell me whether it's helpful or not. But you know, if you're worried as a human that you might have gotten rid of something useful, that really only happens when you delete something entirely. It very rarely happens when you're rewriting, upscoring a paragraph and then downscoring a paragraph. Okay, let's take this one again. Boom. Boom. Okay. Boom. Boom. Got rid of the location thing. Boom, boom. And Jordan says, and upscoring and downscoring affects all four numbers? Theoretically, it does, yeah. Theoretically. Because upscoring will stuff in all these entities that are not being used, right? It'll stuff them in more. The higher the score, the better. The more each individual AI liked these words, the higher score it has, the more it'll be using them. Those are the important SEO words, including stop words as well. The only one I'm missing now is NY, because we're doing NYC. That doesn't matter. It knows NY and NYC are the same thing. So that probably doesn't matter either. Rerun this. See, now the average particular length is in the green. And the body's in the green. Jordan says, you don't have to pick a single score box and upscore and downscore for just that one. Rescoring is working on all of them. Yep, they're all interrelated. That's the other problem. They're not separate. The more SEO keywords I stuff in could be the more helpful content I'm adding. Could then therefore make it spammier. Or it could like the turn of phrase that we did and be like, oh, okay, now you've varied the way you say co-working spaces in New York City enough that it doesn't seem spammy to me anymore. Now it seems like a well-written human article, right? And the more SEO keywords I stuff in, usually the more predictable it gets, because it's the way the AI would write it without any restrictions. It's bad writing. SEO writing is bad writing. Downscoring adds good writing. As long as I have said this shit enough that I need to say that are the important words that you're not even going to know, because there's like 1,000 of them. There's no way to memorize it. My AI will score it all up for you, and you just need to be in the green. That's all you need to worry about. So anywho, I need to go down a little bit more. I think I did networking opportunities here. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. Rerun. Still need to do a bit more. Okay, look at this. And get rid of all this. Boink. There we go. Done. Now it's done. Green, green, green. This one is the H1 tag it doesn't like. The body is green. I can run it again. You run this 3 times to be safe. I'll run it again, see what it says, and I'll show you some pro tips for this as well. It says 10%. It says The content provided discusses co-working spaces, which is relevant to the topic. It lacks specific examples or mentions of the potentially spammy, if obviously arbitrarily inserted keywords. There's like 80 SEO keywords you can't just stuff in here. Again, guys, there's a reason why undergrad SEO University we built this tool, because you can't do it by hand anymore. You just can't. And if you think you can, then you are cutting out like 90% of the on-page ranking algorithms. It says a quality rater would likely pass this page for #1 ranking, as it aligns well with the likely query intent. So that's great. The only thing it doesn't like right now is the H1. So this is how I fix that. I go here, take this, and I don't. I go to generate article. I highlight this right now. Here's a pro tip. You highlight this and generate article. You come down here and say, please rewrite an H1 for this topic. Do not mention this EMQ. And it's whatever it is. It's Spaces NYC. You can also find it here, Spaces NYC co-working. Go down here. Okay, so they give me a bunch of ones. Exploring the best features and options of NYC's co-working environments, a comprehensive guide to costs and amenities in New York's shared workspaces, navigating the landscape, discovering your guide to NYC's co-working options, features, costs, and comparisons. Okay, so I think maybe NYC's co-working environments could be good. Try that one. In fact, spaces. Let's see, spaces, NYC's co-working spaces. That might be different enough. That could be different enough. So let's rerun this. See what, it'll run the highest one. If you run it from here, it'll run the highest one. And H1's the highest one. It says it doesn't effectively list what the features, options, and costs. Serving the like given the H1 starts with co-working spaces in NYC. No, it doesn't. It's confused. You are confused. Exploring, rerun this. Sometimes the AI gets confused. Hasn't updated, hasn't refreshed yet. There we go. Now it's green. The H1 does not repeat it, which is good. It also addresses the query intent. The phrasing is clear. It's properly capitalized, uses the correct grammar. The term spaces is quite general. It could be more specific, but it captures the query intent. Boom, all in the green. And that's how you get it in the green. Check to see if you're got any EMQs being used in any places you shouldn't be using it. They're not using it in these places, but it's non-spammy to use it here. I would use proper grammar for that. Save it. There we go. This article is now good to go. Sustainability, boom. Now, if you're like, Josh, I don't like that these paragraphs are super huge. Okay, we could rewrite them. We could downscore them. That'll bring the score down. You'll probably still be in the green. And then we can add more content later on to make sure you have all the proper content. For example, here's some other content we can add. What about pros? Do we have pros and cons? Pros and cons. Yeah, we do have pros and cons in terms of the type of space. Okay, that's good. Another thing we can add that's good to add that they may not have is, do they have decision factors? Simplify your decision making before making a decision. This has probably got all the information that's good. There's probably nothing else we can add here. If they don't have pros and cons, I wouldn't add any pros and cons, that's for sure. And it's better to add more content at the top because Google's, the more your keywords are at the top, the more heavily weighted they are and the more they'll help you rank. That's why, again, when this score is too low, we start at the top highlighting and we do upscoring, working our way down till we get to the point where this is over and this is over. And then we highlight it again, downscore, work up, and stop when this is in the green and this is in the green. So there you go. It's all in the green. And this would have taken me much less time if I wasn't talking about it. Save it. And because I've clicked this enough, also you notice the tutorials fired. There's a whole bunch of tutorials of how to do this stuff as well. Also, custom links, how to use CP, the knowledge base, that started blinking because I had run the score enough times. All right, guys. So that's how you do it. From finding the right keywords to rank for, to running a report, to building it on the correct topics, to make sure it's super helpful, maximally helpful. This is how you make the high quality content faster and easier and better than anybody else, not having to know a damn thing about whatever the hell this is. So as promised, I'll answer any questions. Before I do that, let me give you guys the discount code here as promised. So let's go here. Let me just find it here. So here's the 30% discount. So go to SEOcopilotai.com/pricing and use this. It has to be on debit or credit purchase. So there you go. I just shared that with the group internally here. And again, to get the best bang for your buck, I would probably do these ones to add more pages to get more trust. Sometimes people get this one and they only add one page and nothing happens because they have a terrible site and they didn't really follow all the instructions fully anyway. And so they're like, well, I guess it doesn't work. Well, no, you have to follow the instructions. And sometimes you got to build more than one page because you don't have any trust yet. And you didn't bother doing any keyword discovery to begin with to see if that should even be the keyword you should be building on it in the first place. In the future, my AI will save you from all of that and be like, okay, here's the, give me your WordPress logins, thank you, and then it'll just do it. Like an SEO consultant. Give me your WordPress logins, thank you, and it just does it itself. Or there's a plugin that you install and it just goes. So, all right, so what other SEO questions you guys got? By all means, fire them in there. Let me see here. Jordan asks, so these days, no EMQ as H1. How long ago did that change, Josh? So use page title as EMQ, but not H1. Great question, Jordan. If you're a student of underground SEO University, by all means, ask that question in there. But all I can say is that the spam scores work the way the spam scores work. And if that's what you noticed, great, good for you. But my students get upset when I give away free information that they paid for. So I hope you can appreciate that there's all of the SEO University knowledge that will help you rank is built into the system, because I refuse to build a tool that will hurt anybody. However, that being said, that's about as far as I can go. But you inferred pretty correctly from what you were seeing here, my friend, and what you saw here as well. Keith says, do you rewrite a homepage or just keep adding new articles? Both. It depends on, that gets into SEO audits and depends on what your general site structure should be about. There's, this has done all of the on-page for you, and this has done all the onboarding for you. This has done all the front end of SEO work for you. Now, this has done about 30% of the work for you. Now you need to do the rest of the 70%. You need to build up a site. You need to know how to do a proper navigation structure. You need to do a proper topical cluster. You need to add more content for sure, like I said. So there's definitely a lot more. If you want more information, I'd be more than happy. I mean, I don't have the time to go over this. This is like 2 or 3 hour courses I teach in underground SEO University. So just on the things you specifically asked there, site structure, for example, navigation structures, internal linking, where to put them, where not to, it is a huge ranking difference. Your internal linking is, aside from OnPage, your internal linking and your site structure and build is like the second biggest ranking factor there is. And then there's another ranking factor that I didn't even mention that's a huge ranking factor. Again, email me to join Underground SEO University. I give huge discounts if you're a paying SEO Copilot customer. So you can learn tech SEO, you can learn structural SEO, you can use off-page SEO, you can learn the on-site SEO. that you're going to need to rank in most competitive niches. Email me at joshmashinsky@gmail.com. Let me give you the email address. Keith says, superb information. Thanks, Josh. You're welcome, Keith. No problem, my man. Jordan says, another more broad SEO question for at the end. So we have a ton of LASIK clients. Okay, yeah. The challenge is we write an article like, how long do you need to wear sunglasses after LASIK? If you write the same articles with slightly different title H1 and body copy, sunglasses after LASIK, your question's answered. For a client who has better trust links, it wipes out the first guy's article, which might have been on page 1. That's interesting. Yeah, that's a bit of a unique scenario. That's kind of a nice problem to have, quite frankly. It's like we're ranking #1 for one client, but we're also competing with another client in the same niche. Yeah, now you're going to have to start choosing sub niches for these clients and start trying to bring them sub rankings, quite frankly. That's going to be really careful to do and difficult to do. So that's going to be interesting. Jordan says, further, which might be on this, so that means we have to never really write the same topical article for different clients unless it is a specific city article. Yes, that would be one way to separate them out, which makes it challenging to find enough topics. How long do you need to wear sunglasses after LASIK in Portland? Sunglasses after LASIK in Minneapolis? Those really are going to get much search rank. Yeah, you're right. You can still do it, but if you're doing well, you're gonna blow away someone else's rankings. That's the whole idea. It's a very rare situation where it's your rankings you're blowing away that you got from somebody else. The cost of LASIK Portland or the cost of LASIK Minneapolis does make sense to do. It definitely does. You can, I mean, there's different sun, right? Right. Minneapolis gets way more sun than Portland does, probably because of the rain. So there probably are different articles you can do. Yeah, you're going to have to be pretty creative and do a lot of keyword discovery and see, okay, great. These are great articles I can do for Portland. Which quite frankly, if you're doing local plays for all these, you don't want to rank your Portland customer globally. You only want to rank them for Portland, quite frankly. And if you run out of keywords in LASIK, you start saying, okay, we're dominating the LASIK keywords. I could start adding in general LASIK keywords, or how about we go after a different business? Here's something related to LASIK. Do you guys do this? Hey, do you want to invest in a digital real estate? You can diversify your business and make more money. We're already dominating LASIK. Why don't we extend out to different businesses? Why? The purpose of their business is to make money. Why does it have to be in LASIK? You know what the most successful businesses in the world do? They don't think of it as we make clothes. They think of it as we make money. Which commodity, which product, which service can we move into and dominate and make the most money? Those are the richest companies in the world. So you're doing very, very well, Jordan. If this is the place you're in where you're already dominating a space, now you need to look for another business idea, quite frankly. That's what I would suggest. And if they say no, then I just keep building LASIK content and blow away one customer and then blow away the next one the next month. You're kind of like an arms dealer selling to both sides now. But if they're not going to listen to you to separate their business out into different areas, like crypto or something that's making a lot of money, or something in LASIK like glasses, contacts. But I guess you're trying to get people away from that. But they can sell sunglasses, can't they, to protect your eyes from the. I'm sure there's a natural fit of a side business that would attach onto LASIK. I'm sure there is. And even if there isn't, I'm sure they'd love to make another $100,000 a month. They don't care how you do it, quite frankly. They don't care what it is. Keith says, I will join your mastermind. Awesome, Keith. Email me and we'll get you in there. Abdirazak says, do you have a link to the university? Email me and we'll discuss the information. I do have an old mentorship group website out there, but I don't update it anymore. I think it's broken. I don't like giving those kinds of sales pitches. It's out of date. Email me and we can discuss and I'll tell you all about it. Jordan says the city won't make a big difference in those terms. True, they won't. It's not going to get huge traffic, but why do we care? Why do we care that we got a LASIK customer in Toronto who only cares about selling LASIK services in Toronto? Why do we care that we got them ranking number 1 or number 3 for the top 10 tips of how to care for your eyes after LASIK? Who gives a shit? That is moving them away from the Toronto rankings that they want to have, and that's not going to help them make any more money. Now, quite frankly, between me and you, you're a parasite on their business, getting them to rank for stuff that's not going to make them any more money. In a way. Now, am I saying therefore you should tell them fire me? No, that's not what I'm saying at all. But think of some of the other ideas that I said earlier. They do all 6 procedures: LASIK, EVO, Smile Eye, EVO, cataract. Great. Then get them ranking for all of those things. They can get kind of myopic since they went to school forever to become a refractive surgeon. Yeah, I went to school forever to be a philosopher and to teach at university. You know what I don't do? Teach at university, because I realized how shitty a job it was. And I found other ways that make more money that are better. Jordan says, we never represent different LASIK practices in the same city. Well, that's good. Well, that's definitely good. Todd says, would the 144 tier be good for those of us who concentrate on article writing for 5 to 7 clients? And does the discount percentage move if we need to move up a tier? Sure, I can do that. Keith says, just joined, the discount code worked. Yep, it should. It definitely should. There's a few spots left. And yes, Todd, if you sign up for the 144 tier and you had a 30% discount and you need to move up, either it will automatically apply when you move up in the system, or if it doesn't, email me and say, Josh, you gave me this discount. I've been using it. I want to get a higher tier. I will give you another 30% discount and I will move you up for sure. Todd says, cool, thank you. You're welcome, my friend. Any more SEO questions? By all means, you guys ask. Let me see here if there's any on the YouTube. Any questions from the YouTube here? Troll Hunter says, how do we find SEO University, Josh? You email me. So as promised, I said I would give you guys the discount. So here's the discount on the YouTube. I gave the Zoom first crack at it. Here's the discount on the YouTube for 30% off. And here is the email address to ask about SEO University. We get wins. We get wins for folks. Go to bit.ly/SEO proof and see all the wins that we've gotten for the last 10 years. Almost every single month, or every month, unless I've been lazy not to post that month. Every single month, when everyone else is losing rankings, we're gaining them. Now, I'm not going to lie and say that we've never been hit by an update. Of course we have. We've been hit by tons of updates. But even in the months that we were hit by updates, we had other students succeeding because we've always been future-proofed. We've always been looking ahead and not being reactive, right? We've always been looking at the new ranking algorithms and not been relying on the ranking algorithms of yesteryear. We stopped doing crazy link building like 5 years ago because we're like, this does not have the return on investment. And it's highly risky, and it's not even such a big ranking factor anymore. We can do better with our on-page and our on-site and some other off-page factors that have nothing to do with links that we'll talk about when you get in the group. All right, guys. Well, that's been 2 hours and 10 minutes of craziness. If you have any questions at all, please email me. I'm more than happy to answer any questions you have on any SEO topic. I have no problem answering a 5-minute SEO topic. Go ahead, email me. I'll tell you what to do at joshbashinsky@gmail.com. If you've liked the course, please like and subscribe. Tell your friends. Tell your friends on SEO forums that you got good value out of it, if you feel you got good value. Was there one more question? Oh, yes, there was one question I didn't answer. It was, so if you get a list of keywords that are basically all the same and tightly matched, what do you do? I keep building. It depends. I do either carpet bombing or I pick the easiest one and move on. It depends on how many keywords you have. So for example, here in the dashboard, here in Keyword Discovery, for NYC co-working space, you notice these ones I've favorited here, the ones I starred, these are all query interpretation to the same topic. So I would pick this easy one and build it, or quite frankly, because it's so easy to build pages, and sometimes Google is very finicky, and the more pages you build, the more attempts it will give you, the more attempts at bat to use a sports metaphor, you get, right? So it's six in one hand, half dozen in the other. If you're doing a carpet bombing approach, you would build all of them and you'd be like, okay, Google likes this one and doesn't rank this one and this one. Fine, you 301 these to this and you move on. You rel canonical this to this, you 301 this to this, and you move on. And you don't really pay that close attention. Or you can be like, okay, clearly these are all the same keyword. I'm just going to build the easiest one and I'll move on building from here. But if you start running out of keywords to build, then build these other ones and try to see if you can get a different aspect to the article. Because I just spent the last 2 hours telling you you need to have the right query interpretation, and 90% of the time that's correct. Here's a secret. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you don't have to have the right query interpretation. And that's how Google tries sometimes different query interpretations and different page types. That's why sometimes you see in some niches, well, it looks like it's e-commerce pages from Amazon, but occasionally they'll throw in an affiliate blog review. That's because they tried it on a site that they were trusting and it worked. So is that the best way to do SEO? No, you have less spaces on the SERP to go for. You have one QDD slot available and they will try you once and they rotate sites through that less often. But if you're just doing carpet bombing and it doesn't matter and you're getting rankings left and right, now you can afford to start trying some high risk pages. And so that's what you can do. Nick says, thanks for another great SEO Copilot session. I'm glad you liked it, Nick. So I hope that answers that question. Any more questions before we go? Any questions in the YouTube? I know you guys on YouTube are 10 seconds late. Any questions in the YouTube before we go? Any more questions here in the Zoom before we go? How are you guys thinking of using SEO Copilot? What whetted your appetite? Did you guys consider any of the rank and rent or digital real estate suggestions? If you're really good at SEO and you've got a tool for leveraging and building pages, why stick with the LASIK or the flowers you sell or the whatever it is you do? At the end of the day, it's just about putting up pages that make money you can monetize. If you start to see pages in these areas that can make so much money, you might decide, hey, you know what? Maybe I will try an affiliate play or a rank and rent play. Maybe I will build a site up and then sell it. Could be an easy way to do it. Don't flip houses, flip websites. I know people who make money hand over fist doing this. One of our students in SEO University made 500,000 euros doing this. He sold a site for €500,000, which is like over $1 million Canadian, easy, close to $1 million US. Excuse me. All right, let me just check the YouTube. Any further questions? No, it looks like we're good. Okay, guys, well then that's where I'll leave you. Abdirazak says, I tried using the keyword discovery for a client who sells spice blends, but didn't get those type of results. Oh? So like what do you mean? Well, first, was this English or was it Arabic? Or some other language? Do I have any advice? Sure, let's try it. English in the UK. Okay, are you selling to people in the UK only, or are you selling to people anywhere? You ship worldwide. Okay, so spice blends. Let's see what we got. Spice blends. Let's try spices. Let's run both. Add all locations because you sell around the world. Anywhere to English. Okay, great. Don't have to specify it. Make sure you're casting a wide net. If this was turned off, you're not going to get a lot of different data. And the AI apparently has come up with 7,000 and 5,000 ideas. So masala, grand masala, still checking the difficulty, but hey, some of these make good money. Some of these make good money. Look at this. Masala, garam masala, Jamaican jerk seasoning. I love jerk chicken. You guys ever tried jerk chicken? It's pretty good. I like it. I also really like Lebanese chicken, shawarma chicken as well. Nick says jerk chicken is amazing. Oh no, now we're talking about food. It's my lunchtime. It's 12:15 for me. Oh no, now I'm starving. Mmm, jerk chicken. Mmm. Gingerbread spice, barbecue spice rub. Ooh, that's good too. That's good. America has a lot of good barbecue spice rub recipes from the Carolinas as well. Texas can be good too. Mmm, mmm. Shawarma spice. There we go. That's what I was talking about. Chinese 5 spices. I love some Chinese food too. Now I'm really hungry. So it's running some of the difficulties here. It runs the top 3 quickly, and then to give you a general idea. So Abdirazak says, so in terms of ads competition, which keywords do you think we should go for? In terms of Google ads, is what you're asking? Or does that not matter? How do you mean? In what context are you looking at ads? You're talking about when you're paying for Google ads, which one should you go for? I wouldn't go for any of them. Don't send Google a red cent. Buy a high enough, instead of, this is a much better investment. And I'm not just saying this because I run the company. Do not send Google a red fucking cent. Do not pay them $40 a click or $37 a click for this shit. It's highway robbery. What you do is you buy the $144 a month system, you run the keyword discovery and find the ones that make the most money that are easiest to build on, and you start making money from SEO in month 1 or 2 or 3, and you never look back. That's what I would do. And quite frankly, I would probably buy Pinterest traffic, or I would probably buy Pinterest ads or Facebook ads or Instagram ads before I would buy Google ads to get the traffic to the site if you don't have any traffic yet. But why not just get why not get organic traffic? The only problem is that if your prices are too high and they go to your page and bounce, then that's not going to be a good ranking signal. Abdirazak says, so we go for the easier keywords, right? Yeah. You sort by final ROI first, and if the ones that make the most money are also the easiest, good for you. Great. Then you keep building. You avoid this one right off the bat. The general head term masala, of course, is going to be difficult to rank for, but not that difficult. Who are they putting here? Oh, people already know how to optimize for it. But there's not a lot of brand awareness here, quite frankly. There's Wikipedia, of course, Amazon, Reddit, another Wikipedia. But look, all recipes is here. This might be local. This could be local. But there's a couple sites here. There's a couple spots. There's 3 or 4 spots you can punt off. So I would not go for this right away if you have a new site or a site that just gets dots and dashes and they never rank anywhere. Or if your site takes weeks to index, you have a new site. I don't care how long it's been around. The content is new or not trusted, right? If it takes a week to get indexed and rank anywhere, you need to start with the easier and average. Sort by final return on investment. Only go for the ones that are pretty close to easy, this is 16%, which is still pretty easy. Build up, build up, build up, build up. And if you're like, Josh, I can't build 5 pages a day, there's not enough of them. And I say, yes, there is. Go down here, go to the next page, and build more. Run these ones. And then go to the next page and run those ones until you have hundreds and hundreds of pages you can build. And then build them out. Build up a huge site. Montreal steak seasoning, Montreal. Montreal is an interesting city. I only spent a week there, but it was interesting. And so you just keep building. I wouldn't pay Google ads for anything unless you have, and again, if you have terrible conversions, you got to make sure your prices are good. You got to make sure your prices are in line with everybody else, or cheaper. Google might look at that. Just saying, just putting it out there. The underground SEO university students know better exactly what they do with price, and they do stuff with price. It is a ranking factor. And it's also a direct ranking factor, and it's also an indirect ranking factor in the sense that if your traffic hates it, it bounces, that's going to be a problem. Pickling spice. People are into pickling. Look at this. I heard that recently. People are into pickling. So anyway, you run more of these, and then you build the pages up as I said. Does that make sense, my friend? Abdirazak, let me know if that makes sense. He says, yes, thanks, Josh. Awesome. So you see, it's run. Now you go back to page 1 here, And now there will be more. Sort by final return on investment, boom. Now there's more. See, there was a very tough year before. Now you find more, easier, and average. You've got to cast as wide a net as possible. The wider net you cast of getting difficulties, the more pages you have to build on, the more successful your SEO business is going to be, the more money you're going to make, and the sooner you're going to make it. Do not wait 6 months or a year before you start making money at SEO. Wait 6 months to 12 weeks. That's the time frame of how fast you should be ranking and making money in SEO. If you've chosen the right niche, if it has money, if it has a chance of ranking for it, and if you're building up the correct way, following all the system suggestions, and getting everything in the green. I know for a scientific fact, you're going to index and rank at 60 to 70%, at least, bare minimum. You're going to be ranking on page 1, 10 to 30%, spot 1 to 5, 5 to 10, 20%, something like that. So eventually you're going to start getting the money come back because you built on queries that have money behind them anyway. You did not build on queries where this doesn't make any money, no matter how easy it is. You didn't build on these because it makes no money whatsoever. You could rank for these all day long. They just don't make any money. That's the old way of doing SEO. The proper way of doing SEO from 25 years experience is building on the ones that are easy that also make money. And finding those chinks in the armor that Google has penalized all the other websites, and so it's super easy all of a sudden, or people that didn't realize other people are typing that in or searching it, and so they never bothered to optimize for it. Find those opportunities, my friend. All right, guys. Well, there I'll leave it. Actually, hold on, let me see. Todd says, I'm in. Thanks again. Awesome. No problem, Todd. Glad to hear it. See if there's any final questions here on the tube views. All right, no final questions, guys. So, I mean, I really would appreciate, thanks, guys. I really appreciate you all. Thanks for being here. If you can remember to like and subscribe, please do so. Tell your friends. I'm really trying to do a push to get more students and get more people into SEO Copilot because I believe in it. I know it. I don't believe in it like a dream. I know it like a scientist, and I know exactly how well it's going to work for you. And I know it's a viable way to make money in our inflation, greedflation, cost of living, pocketbook expense, always getting worse. This is how you get ahead. This is how you start making money and work from home. You can work from home doing SEO. Did you know that? Is in many cases. And making money for yourself. This is how you get away from a boss too, if you want to. Try rank and rent. Try digital real estate. This is a safe bet. This is a much safer bet than buying Bitcoin. Let me tell you. And has a capability of making money. It's never been brighter. The future of SEO has never been brighter. This is like the year 2000 all over again of making money hand over fist and being able to rank for almost anything anywhere, or at least being able to rank successfully when you find the right niches. And it's all because of AI. So AI is definitely going to help us out. And you should be the smart person using AI quicker than everybody else and get that competitive advantage. All right, guys. Well, I'm super hungry now that we talked about jerk chicken and things like that. I think I might take my wife out for lunch. I think I might. So thanks, guys, for listening. And thanks for watching. Email me at joshbrzezinski@gmail.com if you have any questions at all. Take advantage of those discounts as quick as you can because